In April, we'll have the halving is when you cut the supply. Right now, you can only mine 900 Bitcoins a day. It'll drop to 450. That's every 4 years. So it'll cut the supply. And we have, obviously, from ETF flows, just in the last week, this week alone, 1 billion of inflows since ETFs have been launched, a
Balchunas.
total of about 7 billion. Yeah, Eric Balchunas has been all over that. And I'm glad you mentioned it. There's a key, but the thing that really struck me was at the ETF conference, the big one they have in Miami every year.
So that wasn't the one in Cleveland in February. This is one in Miami in February?
Yeah,
okay.
That's right. No hurry to go to Cleveland in February. But so Eric was moderating a panel, and the room was packed. So I went to another presentation room at the same time where it was actually bigger, and no one really cared what they were presenting on. So everybody, all these professional money managers, were really looking at watching Bitcoin and wanted to learn about Bitcoin ETFs.
Wait, can you just break down this whole halving thing? I don't understand how that's okay to do that.
Well, hello, Alex. It's in the code. I have a son who's a programmer. I asked him about it. He says, "No, it's the code, Dad. It's just by code. Every 4 years, the supply gets cut in half. So right now, all the miners in the world will only create 900 coins a day, and as of the halving, it'll cut to 450. So it doesn't have that high price cure that you really see affect most commodities, and why most commodities are in bear markets, with the exception of gold. But it also on the supply side. It's just the way it's set up. And as our colleague Zeke Foss wrote number go up. Well, that's Bitcoin is designed to go up. But now it's becoming an alternative currency on a global basis. And the U.S. is jumping in that fray. And also a key thing you have to look at it from a macroeconomic standpoint is China's kind of pushing back. Remember, China's going for gold, the largest gold buyer in the world, and they were associated with this war. And the U.S. is just to prove ETFs and Bitcoin. So you see where the world's going towards intangible assets, and Bitcoin's the most significant in cryptos.
So how do we, let me go back to something really fundamental. How do we value this thing? How do we decide whether it's expensive or not? Is there any fundamental analysis here, or is it just it's a commodity and supply and demand?
It'll go up, and then you should buy it at some point.
Yes.
Well, I do appreciate that, Paul. Typically coming from an equity kind of person, it's a question I often get in commodities. The one way you can value it is by watching the hash rate. That's just the amount of transactions and I guess you could say computer power in the space, kind of looking at the voltage and things, and it's exponential, still rising rapidly. But one thing I also like to tilt over to when people push back on this particular crypto, I mean, remember there's 30,000 wannabes, is I like to say when you go on any of the major crypto sites and you click on volume, the number one traded crypto is the dollar via tokens, and that is Tether. Basically trades double the volume of Bitcoin. So I'd say Bitcoin's the leading one. It's like gold in the space. But when people push back on the technology, I'm saying it's really the whole world's gone for this space, and the base layer they've gone for is the dollar, not any other currency.
That's actually quite interesting. What about Ether, though, for example? Like you mentioned Tether. But Ether, I've read like Ether ETFs may be coming too. And I'm wondering what the effect of that would be on the thesis that you have.
Well, to answer your question, Alex, to me, it's a matter of time to get ETFs to track a broad index in the space. So Bloomberg Intelligence first proposed the Bloomberg Galaxy Crypto Index in 2017, and we launched that in 2018. So that's almost 6 years now. It's just a matter of time. But Ethereum, Ether ETFs will come. It's a question of when. The key thing that Ethereum has, you do have a yield in Ethereum. And that's where most equity people come in and say, oh, well, I can do that. And then also it's the technology. Ethereum is really kind of making possible what's happening in the space. Is NFTs might be speculative, but also tokenization of most assets. As I mentioned, the dollar is the most widely traded crypto.